That looks like a good facade. Let's hide in here. Nobody will find me. I will not find myself either. Well, it's cozy. Maybe not as elevated interior. But feels safe. This is often what we feel, don't we? I certainly felt that, and even sometimes, even now too as well. Hide somewhere behind something big, maybe even impressive, maybe even scary. From the outside, might even looks legit, but I know it's my hiding place. I know it is my exterior for what I want others to see. Hiding what I'm not so certain about. And what is the facade? Facade is the external version of ourselves that we have manufactured to be more socially acceptable, to be more liked, more revered, based on the situation we are, cultural, social, we have born in, or based on the environment we choose to live. So molding into either norms and values of that environment or expectations of people that surround us, our loved ones, our partners, our family. Unfortunately, more often than not, we tend to identify with that persona much more than our true self. Sometimes we are not even aware of that true self because we didn't explore it or because we did not choose it in our life, either because of the backlash we have received as a result of being that more authentic self that was not accepted or that was not preferred by those that we choose to surround ourselves with. So we might not even fully explore that, and often it is a choice. Actually, it's always a choice. We just often choose not to do it, not even explore it, because we've stopped at that acceptable version of us, and we become almost like a commercial project and commercial product of those expectations, and we choose to feed majority than actually the specific target group, so to speak, tribe, or our partner or true friends, those that really accept us, those who love us for who we are. And for some reason, culturally, we got convinced that we have to fit majority of tastes. And if we really look deep, it's really hard to do that being your authentic self, because there are so many tastes, so many different preferences, likes, dislikes, that it's impossible to be a cup of tea of everyone. But especially insecure people, those of us that got wounded in childhood or in our upbringing, when being ostracized or punished for self-expression, we tend to align with that lie, with that understanding that we need to be acceptable by most, majority. And then if we don't, then we do something wrong. But as long as we are not hurting anybody, we are not doing anything wrong by being different. And owning that is actually sexy. Owning that is impressive, attractive, and charismatic. Even if what you present yourself with to the world is not considered classically beautiful or attractive in terms of everyone would like to do that or be that, but being that self that is not hiding behind the facade actually encourages many people to do the same. And that's why it's charismatic. That's why it is impressive, because not many choose that road. And it actually shows either healed self, healed that relative ego, our personality that we live in our everyday life, if we do not choose that commercial route. If we know we won't be accepted by everyone, that's why we have courage to be who we actually are. Just horsefly with me. Enjoy. So, being ourselves in the world is actually something different, something new, something attractive. Now, about the journey of becoming our authentic self. Obviously, it doesn't happen overnight. Often it is a result of different life experiences, going up and down, back and forth, discovering who that person inside is, and daring to explore, maybe sometimes because we hit the wall too many times, seeing that just by replicating somebody else's dream or vision of an ideal partner or employee or just a citizen, a person in the world, we are not getting what we wanted. And that if we are smart, earlier than later, we come to the conclusion what Oscar Wilde said: be yourself, everyone is already taken. So being yourself is, first of all, no-brainer, because you are yourself, that individual one. And second of all, other route is simply not viable. We are not achieving much with that. And if we are really honest with ourselves at some point, if we are having that moment of honesty, we kind of realize, I live in hiding. I actually live in some hole in the ground. So it's not a very glorious moment when we dare to realize that, but that might be the first moment in which we decide to be who we are, or at least start that journey. So, another flying friend. Wasp. Yeah, do you need anything? Anything else? She came to say something. I will translate it in the B language, hopefully. Yeah, okay. I'll mention that. Yeah, okay, got you. Thank you. It's a valid point. Sometimes it's a then result of trial and error, of looking for the answer from the very beginning. Sometimes something big needs to happen. Some really shit needs to hit the fan in our life, either in terms of relationship, job, for us to start questioning whether what we do really makes sense, if the person that we try to be lovable is really us, or it's some commercial product that we construed to make it easier for others to love us, which actually defeats the purpose, because then we can never trust that love. And sometimes there is a moment in life that we start to see maybe a glimpse of deeper truth behind the world, events, words, relationship, and we try to pursue it. That's the pursuit of truth, that it is very individual journey for everybody. For some, it might be a spiritual journey through different belief systems, sometimes through connecting to nature, sometimes finding deeper truth in life, finding the meaning of life by different activities. So it depends of what you're looking for, or where are you looking for to find yourself. And that's why there is no one way of finding yourself behind that facade, but maybe also in a larger scope of reality of the world, my place in it, my gifts, my talents, my tribe, people that will vibe with me, with exactly who I am. And that's the leap of faith we might decide at some point to make, to find that, get out of that hole and look for ourselves and that place in the world. And then, even if we are on that journey already, there are again many ups and downs, questioning, am I doing the right thing? Was it a good idea to ditch that facade that at least it was safe and provided me with some level of acceptability or social acceptance? And now I'm alone and there is still no tribe on the horizon. But as I mentioned, that's the journey. First, we need to find ourselves, to find the community we can fit in. But without step one, we cannot reach step two. And that requires courage. What's helpful on the journey is seeing yourself from perspective of larger system. Because the worst thing we can wind ourselves up very much is by seeing only our perspective, our small narrow route, having the funnel vision of my pain, my wants, my needs, my unfulfilled dreams. And if we hammering on that constantly, we might actually end up on a depressive side. And that's why in here I would strongly recommend some type of either spirituality or belief system, or finding larger understanding of the existence, reality. Maybe for some would be through the prism of God or higher beings or reincarnation or Buddhism. Anything that would help you to see yourself like as a dot on the map, rather than only my funnel as a only reality. Because then you are having that sense that it's okay to be lost for a while on that map. Maybe I need to go through the dark valley a couple of times even to find that element of self that I ditched on the journey towards perfectionism, towards the commercial social acceptability. You know, there is the saying, sometimes we need to get lost or lose ourselves to really find ourselves. Some like constructs of ourselves and or the world we live in, sometimes we need to really dismantle before we start and build something more than that. And then again, it can be messy. That's why it's so good to have like a bigger vision of where I can possibly be. And it's not about being right constantly. As I say, it can be messy, it can be chaotic, sometimes even has to. When you look at the table of an artist, of a painter, you rarely see the ordered colors in their palette of paints. Largely, it's all spread across the table, 2 floors, sometimes maybe even the wall. The colors are mixed, everything is out of the tube and stuff like that. The same sometimes with our internal process. To really find the essence, sometimes we need to really renovate, strap the walls of who we thought we are, to really find that gem that each of us is. But it is on our terms and we need to find it. Nobody will tell you you're there. You will know you are there. And also, we are never our final product. We are still changing. We are constantly in this dynamic motion of becoming. Sometimes of becoming more who we are, sometimes in understanding reality, maybe getting more compassionate view on our story, on those that hurt us, maybe even of our role in a society and larger system. But it's never like, okay, I arrived, I can unpack and live comfortably till the rest of my days. That would be boring as well. So there is always that element of constant exploration. So I think as long as you decide not to live in a hole in the ground anymore, and by saying it, I'm not romanticizing it in terms of Hobbit, but this hole in the ground, deprived of the sunset, sunrise, breeze, gaze of other people, sense of community, then we need to be really open to experience some of the hardships of facing that world, all the elements of it, and through that interaction, explore and refine our internal diamond. The first might be that coal, then squashed under the weight of our life experiences, might become a diamond, but still then we need to cut it. We need to cut it through that decisions, sometimes going against what's easy, what's socially acceptable, preferred, liked. Some people might not even like that, because if we do that, then we reflect something more than this commercial 2 or 3-dimensional object, and they might try to have dig at you, like, why you do it, like you were so nice before and now you're all this exploring person, questioning everything. But that's also what I mean by hardship. Sometimes we'll be mirroring some fears in others who they are not, and that might create discomfort in other people that do not dare to go that route that is a little bit uncharted, because, as I said, it requires courage. So if we start doing that exploration on our own and we face some backlash, just think for yourself, like, am I convinced this is for me, or that's what I want to do? Or even think about the rewards of that larger sense of self, peace, acceptance of who we are, maybe finding your good partner, your tribe. Then none of that backlash should really matter. And we can even think, I'm just mirroring something for that person that they don't dare to do themselves. That's why they try to stop me. And often it is the case. Not every time. Sometimes we might have already good friends and they will see that and will fully support it and say, like, go you. You're very inspiring, and you might be also inspiring for others too in that process. But don't do it just to feed that expectation of being appreciated for it. It is your journey, and it is supposed to be for you to stop living in that facade of needing this acceptance. So let's do it with a good motivation. So final thoughts might not be always comfortable. Yes, it is worth it. Have a large scope of where you are in the world. Don't make it all about you, only me, my pain, my happiness, my wants, needs, and unfulfilled expectations. And very also important, try to connect with people around you. Not because you want them to be your partners or because you need something from them. Look around to the older person on the bench in the park. Say hello to them, smile. We feed of one another in our kindness, our good heart, and you never know where it can come back to you. But we also reverberate like walking, bells. If you ring a certain goodness around you, this ripple effect will also reach people that are in your proximity, and it might stir something in others that will come back to you at some point. And even if not, what a great thing is to do something out of sheer need of the heart, without expectation of getting anything in return. That's what world needs right now, doesn't it? So let's explore. Let's explore our map. Let ourselves to be lost before we find ourselves.